So, section 10, which is the same as chapter 10, and I'm reading from the text. The Buddha said to Subhuti, "What do you think? Did the Tathagata obtain anything from the Dharma when in the past he was with Dipankara Buddha?" "No, World Honored One. When the Tathagata was with Dipankara, he did not obtain anything from the Dharma." "Subhuti, what do you think? Do Bodhisattvas adorn Buddha lands by their moral actions?" "No, Well Honored One. Why? Because this is not real adornment. It is merely called the adornment of Buddha lands." "Subhuti, this is why all Bodhisattvas and Mahasattvas should thus develop pure, clean minds and should not abide in form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and Dharma. They should develop a mind which does not abide in anything." "Subhuti, suppose there is a man with a body as great as the mountain Sumeru. What do you think? Would such a body be great?" Subhuti replied, "Very great, World Honored One. Why? Because the Buddha says it is not the real body, but is merely called a great body." So newcomers, do you know what it means by reading these paragraphs? A lot of no, a lot of yes, a lot of words about the mind. So in chapter 9, the previous chapters, the Buddha taught the doctrine of non-attainment. So we've been talking about the Theravada school of starting the 4 levels. The first level is Sotapanna. The second level is Sakritagamin. The third level is Anagamin. And the highest level, the 4th level, is Arahat. So just to recall, the first level, Sotapanna, is the practitioner who practice Samatha Vipassana and have achieved at a certain level when all the conceptually arising mental afflictions have been eliminated. So we have mental afflictions, you know. Everybody has mental afflictions. What are these mental afflictions? Remember last time? It's good to recall. Our mental afflictions in us contain of 2 categories. One is conceptually arising mental afflictions, and the other is fundamentally innate mental afflictions. What are the conceptually arising mental afflictions? Self-view, extreme view, attachment to view of rigid attachment to precepts, evil view, greediness, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and doubts, and so on and so on. All of us have. If you do not have these mental afflictions, you wouldn't be in the cycles of reincarnation, in the cycle of life and death. These mental afflictions create karma. You know what karma is? We already have explained it in detail. So these mental afflictions, for example, greediness, hatred, arrogance, doubt, which include, of course, in detail, there's a lot more details to it, jealousy, hatred, anxiety, you name them, anger. Do we have all these? Or you say, I don't have. If you don't have these, you're a saint. So if you have been successfully have been successful in eliminating all these conceptually arising mental afflictions, then you are Sotapanna. You still have the fundamentally innate mental afflictions. Conceptually arising afflictions pertaining to since birth, you have nurtured that already. But the fundamentally innate one refers to the previous lifetime that you have been accumulating. And that, of course, include also greediness, hatred, arrogance, doubts, and all those. So we have these 4 different levels. And chapter 9 mentioned all these. And we learned how do you achieve these levels until you become the Arhat. And after you achieve this level, you do not attach to the achievement. In other words, when you have been successful in eliminating all these mental afflictions, you remove your ego already. We all live in the ego cell, all of us. You remove the ego. When you remove the ego, there is no duality. There's no subject and object. There's no I and you and them and they, because the ego is gone. It's the ego that creates the problem. Now the ego is gone, so there's no ego. When there's no ego, there's no attachment. There's ego, there's attachment. You're attached to love, to money, to reputation, to status, to a lot of things. So we already have mentioned that, so we will continue now. So in the minds of the Sotapanna, the Sakradagami, the Anagami, and the Arahats, there is no attainment of Bodhi. They won't say, now I have attained Bodhi. I've been successful in eliminating my ego. Because there's no ego. How can you say I've been successful in eliminating my ego? Because if you said that, that means you have a subject and an object. If you have a subject and an object, you still live in the duality of the world, which has pros and cons, yes and no, tall and short, rich and poor. No more discrimination, as there's nothing to be obtained. You obtain it, but there's nothing to be obtained. Because they do not attach to the 4 fallacious concept of, in the Chinese languages, 我相, 人相, 众生相, 受者相. Ego, personality, beings, and life. Of course, each one of these words contains a lot of meaning to it. And I already explained it in detail for the 8 sessions. Subhuti have understood the non-abiding enlightenment, but he doubted and thought that although Bodhi did not abide in anywhere, there should be an acquisition of the fruit of pursuing enlightenment. There must be something that is obtained. That's what Subhuti thought. Because if a cause is made, there's got to be result, the effect resulted, or the result realized. There must be something that's obtained. If there's not anything obtained, then what is this so-called teaching of Buddhism? What is this so-called Buddhism that is transmitted from one generation to the other? There must be something obtained, he thought. That's what he thought. So the Buddha knew that he has that thought and doubt in his mind and asked the question, did the Tathagata obtain anything from the Dharma when in the past he was with Dipankara Buddha? That means the Buddha became the Buddha. Did he obtain anything? Did he obtain any Buddhahood? He obtained it, but he's not regarding as anything to be obtained. It sounds illogical. It sounds contradictory, but it isn't. You think about it. You have to think about it. For beginners, you really have to think about it before you understand it. What is this Dipankara Buddha? Yan Deng Fo, for those who understand Chinese. Yan Deng Fo, Buddha of the everlasting Lamb. Dipankara Buddha is the 29th predecessor of Sakyamuni Buddha. What does that mean? So Sakyamuni Buddha was the historical Buddha born in this world, in India, and became enlightened 2,600 years ago. He is the historical Buddha of the world. But there are a lot of Buddhas. The 29th predecessor before Sakyamuni Buddha is the Dipankara Buddha. So when you think of Buddha, you think there's one Buddha. There's millions of Buddhas. There's millions of people who were enlightened and become the Buddha. And just a few sentences. What happened when you become the Buddha? Visitors to the temple always ask this question. What happened when you become the Buddha? When you become the Buddha, you are away from life and death. You are away from the sufferings of the world. You will not only remove yourself from sufferings of the world, you always come back to the world to remove sufferings from your folks. That's the Buddha. Very, very simply put. So do you realize the importance of being a Buddha? Now, you would realize the importance of enlightenment when you realize the sufferings of the world, when you realize what you went through. What are the sufferings of the world? Being born, aging, sickness, death. Are you not confronting, would you die in the future? Everybody has to die. Would you be sick? Would you be aging? All these sufferings, departure from beloved ones, living with hated ones, all of these sufferings in the world, you take them for granted because you thought, I live in this world and I have to go through suffering. The Buddha said, you can be away from this suffering. There's a way to get away from this suffering. So, following the Buddha's teaching, in the present life, you can enjoy happiness. There's twofold in studying Buddhism. I'm sidetracking myself from this chapter 10 now, for those who've been listening. It's good for newcomers to know this. What's the objective of studying the Buddha's teaching? What's the objective of studying Buddhism? To pass the exam to get an A? That's your objective as a student. You can fail, you want to get a credit. But what really is the ultimate objective of following the teaching? There's twofold to it. One is for the present. The other fold is for the future. If you practice the Buddha's teaching, what will become of you in your present life? You will enjoy happiness. Happiness in your life. Is that what you're looking for? Is there anyone here who's not looking for happiness in life and they're only looking for suffering? Are you only looking for suffering? Nobody wants suffering. Everybody wants to seek happiness. What's the definition of happiness, though? How do you define happiness? I get a job and I feel happy. I got a boat. I got a mansion. I got money. I got health. Is that happiness? What's the definition of happiness? I've gone through that in details, but I would like to summarize it a little bit. Happiness is not sought from money. It's not from wealth. It's not from reputation. It's not from satisfaction of all these various desires. You know what I mean by these desires? Happiness is not looking outside. Happiness is looking from within. Imagine if you are a multi-billionaire and you're not peaceful in your mind, would you be happy? So if we can put it very simply, happiness may be, if we can define it, peace of mind. If you don't have peace of mind, you won't have happiness. You have billions of dollars, you have a good home, you have all this material you have, you name it, reputation, status, you're the president, you have high status, but if every day you don't have peace of mind, you're not happy. So that peace of mind is the most important. If you really want a few words to define happiness, I would say it is peace of mind. Somebody say, if you have a lot of money, then you will have peace of mind. That's not true. Some people have a lot of money, and it's because of the money they don't have peace of mind. They're worrying about deflation. They're worrying about this financial tsunami. They're worrying about putting which bank to put the money into. They're worrying about abduction. They're worrying about drop in interest rate. They're worrying about how to conserve the money that they have, to keep it. And sometimes they even want to multiply it. I want to use this money to get more. By all means. I don't care as long as I have money. And then they hurt other people in the process of doing it. In business, in personal interaction, in a lot of ways. A good couple, because of money, they get divorced. One suing each other. For what? For the remnants of the possessions of properties, money, wealth, jewelries. Have you seen cases like that in the newspapers? Do I need to explain more? So, to study Buddhism, it gives you not just an A in your course, it gives you the path leading to that peace of mind. So that's the present time category of the objective. There's twofold, as I said, the present and the future. The present, you get peace of mind. When you have peace of mind, you're happy. And more than that, when you have peace of mind, you have more intelligence. You're more calm. When you're more calm, you're more intelligent, you know how to resolve your problems. It's only when you are confused and you don't have peace of mind that you tend to do the wrong deeds. When you have that peace of mind, you tend to be more clever. You tend to be more calm. You tend to be more caring. You tend to be more compassionate. You tend to be more helpful. You tend to be more responsible for yourself, for your family, for the society, for the whole world. Peace of mind. How do we achieve that peace of mind? You got to learn about it. So that's the present fold. I said two folds in studying, in following the Buddhist teaching. Nothing about worshiping, throw that away. Nothing about blind faith, prostration and kneeling before Buddha and say your prayers and Buddha is the creator, Buddha is the God. Nothing about that at all. It's about you yourself. How do you achieve this peace of mind? How do you practice to achieve this peace of mind? How do you let others to achieve peace of mind? How do you help others to achieve peace of mind? How about the future, the twofold? There's the present concept. How about the future? The Buddha said, maintaining a peace of mind for this present life is important. But that's not the most important. The most important is, how do you go beyond life and death? You don't have to die again. Go beyond reincarnation. Go beyond samsara. How do you achieve this anuttara samya sambuddhi? Then, to understand this question, we have to know. To understand this question of how to go beyond, transcend life and death, you really have to study about karma, reincarnation, and purity of the mind. When we study the Buddha's teaching, the time dimension is extremely long. The dimensions in the Buddha's teaching, not just the path. What is the universe? What's the universe make up of? How do we regard? How do we understand the universe? In terms of two things: time and space. Space, we are in space. In space, we have everything. You and me and everything in the world. We call it the spatial dimensions. Everything we created, science, technology, art, humanities, everything, isn't that regard space? That's the horizontal concept of the universe. Space. And how about a vertical concept of the universe? Time. What is his time dimensions? Past, present, and future. What else? Past, present, and future. Anything else? No. 3 dimensions. The past, the present, and the future. When we talk about the past, we said yesterday, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, or as far back as when I was born. But the Buddha's time concept is much further though. Not just the time when you were born, the time before you were born. And the time before you were born, before you were born, before you were born. So many lives, previous lives. We have been accumulating all our karma, our karmic force, and reincarnate life after life after life after life until you are who you are. You're Jack, you're John, you're Joan. Why are everybody different? Everybody's karma is different. What you have done in the past, nobody is the same. Because your karma is not the same, your destinies are not the same. Some people born poor, some people born rich, some people born healthy, some people born crippled. Some people born with good features, handsome, some are pretty, some are ugly, some are tall, some are short. Everybody's destinies are different. Is it God who's responsible for this? Don't blame God for it. You did it yourselves. You created your own karma. All the wrong things, the erroneous things you have done, they are causes. And every cause would carry to an effect. That's called causality. Simultaneous causality. Well, if you study the Buddhist philosophy, you should study simultaneous causality. That's one of the most important concepts. A very logical, scientific concept. I'm looking at my clock now. Maybe I can't go to chapter 10 today. So, I haven't finished the future concept of studying Buddhism. So I said the time dimensions in the Buddhist teaching is vastness. It's so huge, so grand that it's beyond calculation. So, the past, we reincarnate life after life and after life. Something will go on. The body is dead. But the death of your body is the birth of another body. So dying is the beginning. Dying is not the end. Dying is not an end. Dying is the beginning of another life. Another body. It's just like I've always been using that analogy, just like the light bulbs in there. The light bulbs, after a long time, it burn out. It's gone. It's burned out. It's useless. No function anymore. You replace it with another light bulb, another form. It's in a different form now. Another form, another light bulb. The form is changing all the time. But there's something there that has not changed, that will transmit. What is that? That's the electricity. You can't see it, but it transmits. It's just like the theory of energy never disintegrate. It changed form only, from one form to another, from one form to another. Then, oh yeah, so what do we learn from this? Good theory. What do I learn from this? We're reincarnating, so what? I don't care. What do we learn from this? It's important not just to read the words, to cover so many pages in the book. You really have to know, what do I get from it? What do I get from the concept of reincarnation? What do I get from the karma concept? Because we know that, because we know simultaneous causality, we know karma, we know reincarnation. There's one thing that we should learn. Every cause has an effect. So if I continue to do bad deeds, if I continue to have bad thoughts, by the way, how does karma arise? How do I create karma? Through what? When I create karma, how do I create karma? From three sources. From the body, from the mouth, from the mind. What do I mean from the body? From the body, action. I create karma through action. What are these actions? The nature of karma is threefolded. Bad karma, good karma, or neutral karma. It's either bad, good, or neutral. So, from the body, from my action, I create karma. How do I create karma? From the body, from action. What do I do when I create karma? From action. How do we act? Basically, or generally speaking, we kill, we lie, we commit sexual misconduct. What else? We steal. All these things, you use actions to bring them about. We use actions. Hitting people, hurting people, killing animals for food, and lying is from the mouth, and sexual misconduct, or drinking intoxications, and you name them. So, karma is created through action. We call it body karma. Karma is also created through the mouth. We call it speech karma. How do we create karma through the mouth? Cursing, lying, tattletale. What else? Speech can do a lot of harm on many things. Arguing. Because of one argument, people can kill each other. Because of one cursing, especially on the road, they can get into a fight. I have seen people fighting, it's just because of you yell to me and I yell to you, they get down the car and they start to hit each other. Have you seen that? They smash window sills because of one word, because of one cursing. So, from the mouth, karma is created through the mouth. And you think this karma is created and after you're gone, there's no more karma? It has an effect. Everything has an effect. Everything has a cause, has an effect. It's like everything is registered in the computer. For every action, every word you utter through your mouth, it's just like hitting the keyboard. Hitting in the keyboard. When you hit in the keyboard, it gets into your memory. It won't go away. The time comes, It would react to the program. And the memory is unlimited. The memory has been carried forward through lives, through incarnations. So karma can be created through action, through speech, and to summarize it all, through what? Through thought. So mind your thought. The Buddha said, mind your thinking. The mind. That's why. So when we want to change ourselves, or you change other people, you change from their mind. You look within. As I always give this example, Warren Buffett donated $30 billion for charity, and the reporter asked, hey Warren, you gave so much money, and you're so rich, how do you make so much money? And are you happy? And tell us the key of happiness, the secrets of happiness. And finally, after so many reporters asking the questions, he got his secretary to compile a few words about the secrets of happiness, the 7 secrets of happiness. And the first one is, happiness comes from within, not from money. From the mind. Within means the mind, not the internal organ, not your heart. Happiness from the mind. Can you control your mind? Do you have a good mind? To learn, to take this course in Buddhism is to know your mind, to know the importance of your mind, how to train your mind. What did the Buddha tell us about the mind? Your thought. Your thought precedes all actions and all speech. And then you said, of course I understand my mind. I understand every thought I have. Because my mind is under my control. Isn't it? Is your mind under your control? As I first started in this session this morning, as I said, if your mind is under your control, how come you get mad? How come you get jealous? How come you get angry? How come you're egoistic? We can't control our mind. The Buddha's teaching is how to gear your mind to enlightenment, to gear your mind to nirvana, to gear your mind to anuttara samya sambuddhi, using the Sanskrit word. So up to this point, do you know that Buddhism is, strictly speaking, not a religion? Don't use that word religion to stigmatize certain thinking. Buddhism goes beyond language. The Buddhist teaching goes beyond words, transcend words, transcend conceptual thinking, habitual thinking. You've taken the right course. The professor must be happy. Whoever is standing in here, sitting in here. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to the Buddhist teaching. And now I'm going too much into the sidetrack. Let's get back to this chapter 10. All right, now, so the first question, the first paragraph, the Buddha asked, what do you think, Suputi? Did the Tathagata, what is Tathagata? Another name for the Buddha. The Buddha has 10 epithets. Bhagava, Tathagata, and many others too. So, did the Buddha, the Tathagata, obtain anything from the Dharma? That means the Buddha obtained enlightenment and nirvana from practicing Dharma. And after he becomes successful in becoming the Buddha, did he get anything? No, he didn't get anything, because there's nothing to be obtained. If there's something to be obtained, it's not it. It sounds contradictory, but it isn't. You think about it. When in the past he was with Dipankara Buddha. So what is this Dipankara Buddha? Dipankara Buddha is the 29th predecessor of Sakyamuni Buddha, who always appears when Buddha Sakyamuni preaches the Lotus Sutra. In a lifetime during Sakyamuni's second incalculable neon of practice, he assured Sakyamuni that he would attain Buddhahood. And there's a story behind it. Maybe let me tell this story, and when I finish the story, probably the time is up for lunch. In one lifetime, I'm explaining to you, for those who've been listening to Diamond Sutra, I'm explaining to you Dipankara Buddha and the relationship between Dipankara Buddha and Sakyamuni Buddha, the historical Buddha. In one lifetime, Sakyamuni Buddha, in this present lifetime is Sakyamuni Buddha, but in one lifetime, he was a youngster in one lifetime by the name Manava, M-A-N-A-V-A, Manava. And Manava practiced Samatha Vipassana under a saint, a teacher who was a saint. Samatha Vipassana, Samatha, you know Samatha Vipassana? Samatha in the Chinese language is Zi, Vipassana is Guan, or meditation if you want to call it, just to simplify, they study meditation under the saint. And Manava, the youngster, was so grateful for his teacher's kindness that he was always thinking of paying honorarium to his teacher to show his respect. And one day he was returning, the youngster was returning home for a term break, for a spring break, term break. And he came to a village where there was a large assembly of people, of men particularly, competing for the opportunity of getting a beautiful wife. What do I mean by that? In those days, India had a certain custom. And when a daughter became of age to get married, then the father would call an assembly of all the men in the village together to debate on a philosophical issue. In other words, they form a stage, a platform with all the men together, and the daughter about to be married would be on the stage, and the father will be on together with all these other judges, you know, who judge on who is the winner, and they debate on a philosophical issue. So sometimes people ask me, this is another sidetrack, how come Buddhism originates from India? Because 2,600 years ago, along the Ganges River, there's so many philosophers. They like philosophy. They even debate on philosophy. Very philosophical. India, 2,600 years ago, everybody was philosophical. That's why Buddhism originates from India for this particular eons of time. And getting back to the story, the winner of the debate will be awarded a trophy of value, sometimes gold, sometimes money, and then his daughter would also become the wife of the winner. So this is how the father would pick the most intelligent man in the village to be his son-in-law. Now, this youngster, Manava, on his way returning home for a spring break, came to this assembly. And he was standing there and watching the debate. So as the heated debate carried on and so many men participating, and because so many men are participating because the girl on stage was young and beautiful, particularly this girl about to be married was young and beautiful, so a lot of men came for the debate. So in Manava's mind, he did not want to marry the girl, right? But he's interested in getting the money so that he can pay the honorarium to his teacher. He's been always looking for money to give respect to the teacher and honorarium for the teacher. So he was watching. So everybody wanted to win the money and to win the girl. So after so many rounds of debate for a few days, not just one day, the only candidate left for winning happened to be an ugly man who challenged everybody, not just in the assembly, for the whole village. Now I'm the only one. I'm the most intelligent in the village. And I challenged everybody in the village. So that the girl and his father were a little worrying because this guy is not only ugly, he's also arrogant. I don't want him to be my son-in-law. Then this young man, Manava, he came onto the stage and challenged the ugly man. So the debate lasted for a few hours, and finally, Manava won the debate. So both the girl and the father were extremely happy because Manava is both handsome and intelligent. So they become very happy. So the ugly man was indignant, but nothing he could do. He left. So Manava was given 500 pieces of gold money, but he explained to the father and the girl that he was practicing asceticism and that he wanted to maintain celibacy, so he didn't want to get married. He's only interested in getting the money. Can I have the money? If I have the money, I can pay as an honorarium to my teacher. I want to practice celibacy in my life. And the father and the girl respected him for that and let him go and give him the money. So now this youngster, Manava, was on his way with the money and passed by a city where he heard that a Buddha by the name Dipankara Buddha was coming to the city. So he felt extremely happy and he wanted to have this rare opportunity of meeting Dipankara Buddha and offer to him something. So he thought, yeah, I can always offer honorarium to my teacher later, but I have this opportunity to meet Dipankara Buddha. I wanted to offer him something. So he wanted to use his 500 pieces of gold money to buy flowers for offering to the Buddha. But he went around shopping and all the flowers were sold out because everybody wanted the flowers for the Buddha. All flowers sold out. And he came to a shop where there was a lady shopkeeper, and she had 5 more very fresh white lotus flowers left. And Manava said, "Oh, honorable lady, can you sell to me these 5 flowers? I've been looking for the whole day without flowers, and can you sell these 5 flowers to me?" And the lady said, "No, I want to keep it for my own offering to the Buddha. And this is a rare opportunity. I know that there's a lot of merits accumulated for offering to the Buddha, so I'm not going to sell them to you. Oh, please, I can give you all my 500 pieces of gold money, and you can have it all. Just give me the flowers." And the lady said, "Well, yeah, there's so much money, and all right, let's make a deal. Give me all the money, and I only give you 3 flowers." I said, "Oh, fine, better than nothing." So the girl, the lady, the flower lady, gave Manava the 3 lotus flowers. And then the lady also said, "Now there's 2 flowers left. Can you make a vow that I'll give you the remaining 2 flowers? But to me, you look so handsome. Can you make a vow that you will marry me in every one of your next life? I will be your wife. I'll give you these 2 flowers. That's the condition. Make me your wife in every one of your future life, and you can have these 2 flowers." And Manava at that time, he wanted more flowers. He said, "Okay." So he made a vow. He knelt down and made a vow. "I'll make you my wife in every one of my future life." And he took the flowers away and offered to the Dipankara Buddha. So Dipankara Buddha came to the city, and Manava offered the flowers. And Dipankara Buddha came to a location where there's a puddle of water with so much water in there. And if he walked on it, he will have his feet all wet. So the youngster, the Manava, was so touched and respected the Buddha so much that he threw his hair onto the puddle of water so that the Buddha can walk on the hair without getting the feet wet. Why did he do it? Because he has so much respect for the Buddha's moral behavior, for his demeanor, for his for his enlightenment to save sentient beings. He respected that so much. At that juncture, at that moment, he wanted to offer everything, even his body, for such a being who saved all sentient beings. So through his hair, and the Buddha walked on it, and the Buddha, Dipankara Buddha, put his hand onto Manava, the youngster, and he said, after one more eon of time, you will be the Buddha. You attain Buddhahood, and your name would be Sakyamuni Buddha. So he made this future prophecy on this young guy, this Manava, a future prophecy that you'll be the Buddha. One eon, kalpa, one kalpa later. So exactly one kalpa later, Sakyamuni Buddha became the Buddha. The prince Siddhartha Gautama became a monk and later became the Buddha. So that's why in that first paragraph, Dipankara Buddha made the prophecy that he will become the Buddha, he will attain Buddhahood. So that's why there's a relationship between Dipankara Buddha and Sakyamuni Buddha. Just for your interest, a few more words, just to say a few more words about this story. The saint who was the teacher of Manava the youngster is the previous life of Maitreya Bodhisattva. The big belly Bodhisattva. He was once, in one lifetime, the teacher of Sakyamuni Buddha. And of course, Manava later became Sakyamuni Buddha. He was a prince, Siddhartha Gautama, and the prince's wife is Yasodhara. Yasodhara is that flower lady. That flower lady is Yasodhara, who married one afterlife, the same husband and wife since then. Every lifetime, Yasodhara. At one lifetime for Siddhartha Gautama, who became the Buddha later, his wife is Yasodhara, and that's the flower lady. So you all see this relationship? All right, that's enough for now. I haven't really started. I just finished the first paragraph of the Diamond Sutra. There's so much in it to understand. So actually, to talk about this Diamond Sutra, it takes years. And there's a sutra called Saddharma Puntarika Sutra. And there was a monk in ancient China. He explained one word, Zat Dhamma, just one word in the Chinese language, it's mel. He used 90 days to explain one word. So that's how profound it is. And I always learned from, when I was in university, I also learned from my professor. He said, an assistant professor, on one subject, the assistant professor can talk about it for one semester. The full professors can talk about it for 1 year. And then the professor who has full tenure probably can talk about for 3 years just on one subject. I don't know if it's true. Tell me if I'm wrong.